Hey, check out this cool steampunk, Bioshock-inspired casket. I'm in the elevator to the Hollywood Tower Apartments. In this installment, get your fill of ghost stories involving Hollywood, Disney, and urban legends from somewhere under the rainbow. Not to mention the results of a paranormal investigation done in my very own home. I want to welcome all of our new subscribers, all of you who enjoyed watching us freak out some YouTube stars at some of LA's most haunted locations, when I took the Janoskians to Linda Vista Hospital, and when Connor visited the Cobb Estate with Andrea and Jen. If you missed either of those videos, stick around to the end for the links. Coming up on June 20th, 2014, LA Hauntings will be featured on an upcoming episode of the Travel Channel series Monumental Mysteries, so watch out for that. Also, the LA Hauntings Tour Company, we just celebrated our first birthday, so I want to thank everybody who came out and allowed us to show you around haunted LA. And as always, we have to thank Ursula Bielski, the First Lady of Ghost Stories, for helping me get my start in general and inspiring us to do this tour company. Without any further ado, on to the freaky stuff. Now, my passion as a filmmaker and my passion as a paranormal researcher, they seem to always bump into each other. Whether it's working on Lost, on the set of a terrible workplace tragedy in Waikiki, or working at Linda Vista Hospital on an independent film, these two worlds always seem to bump into each other. And just recently, I found myself on a very noteworthy soundstage. This stage has the coolest soundproof doors I've ever come across. Look at this. Double layer of door. We are at Culver Studios on the set where The Wizard of Oz was shot. Yeah, crawling up here with Max Tim.
I don't really want to go much further. Wow.
And then we see a phantom suicidal munchkin show up on this walkway here. There goes Max. Vertigo getting the best of him. Big urban legend, of course, is the munchkin seen hanging in one of the shots from Wizard of Oz, but obviously that's been disproven a billion times by now. A lot of people still believe it, though. This lot was the film site for Gone with the Wind, It's a Wonderful Life, Beetlejuice, and many, many others. While there are tons of different ghost stories involving Culver Studios, a suicidal munchkin is not one of them. Do you have any ghost stories involving Culver Studios? Have you met the ghost of founder Thomas Ince, who was possibly killed by William Randolph Hearst, one of the biggest newspapermen on the planet? If so, definitely leave a comment below, I want to hear it. Next, we head across town to Hollywood to find the elevator that was the inspiration for the Disney thrill ride, the Tower of Terror. There it is. This is the Tower of Terror.
Oh my god. This is just too scary.
There's no indication to see out. Plus there's ink blots everywhere. See your death in the ink blots.
Don't say that, I'm gonna start crying.
That looks angry. Maybe this rickety, claustrophobic elevator with a Rorschach test wallpaper didn't send us into the Twilight Zone, but you could imagine plummeting to your untimely death in the contraption. By the way, if the cable snapped and we fell to our deaths, this is what Connor would look like. And this is what I would look like. The building is charged. According to current tenants, supernatural occurrences are commonplace. Nearly everyone seems to have a haunted apartment. If you're a current tenant, LA Hauntings would love to investigate. There are lots of urban legends involving the mafia being linked to this building. Interestingly, all of these elevated patios overlook the site of the first mafia assassination in Los Angeles. Right across the street from the Hollywood Tower Apartments is where Bugsy Siegel gunned down his childhood friend and fellow Murder Inc. associate, Harry Greenberg. Finally, we come to my house. I live in a craftsman-style home surrounded by historic LA neighborhoods. While my home has been around for 100 years, our experiments focused on some very recent history. We had the unfortunate experience of having a roommates from hell scenario. Fortunately, they have since moved out.
You know what, I'm gonna put a little additional light source over by this broken window. You can see that at all. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there you go. There's the edge of that. And there's some more glass on the ground here, so be careful.
Okay.
So let me turn this guy on too. So yeah, this is the big damage. You can see the distance between where the door should be and where it is now. But I pointed this out. Even here, there's a crack in this one as well. Yeah, Max, you can see the same exact the cracking right there all the way down through this door jamb. Jesus.
So yes, this was a case where there's a lot of intense anger, violence, even physical damage to the house. Now, in the world of the paranormal, we talk about the emotional imprint we're leaving behind. Intense emotional energy can be observed and even measured, even if it comes from people who are still alive. We are all leaving an imprint behind in our daily lives. Usually it's so small it's completely immeasurable. However, in this instance, we have a small, contained space that was full of anger, very intense emotion over the course of several months. Our goal was to try to capture evidence of any residual hauntings that stemmed from this very recent activity. On top of that, we did an EVP session to see if this disembodied emotional energy might have some consciousness attached to it still. It might sound very out there for the uninitiated, but it's one of the things that really excites me about paranormal investigation. You come up with an out there theory and then you test it to see maybe we can rewrite the books on what we think we know. So when you watch these clips, be sure to pay special attention to how empty the room is. While it's a long way from being clean, it is clear of all of their trash.
There's Max.
Max.
Want to come play? Too bad I can't stay.
This is already a horror movie.
So we still have the recorder going. It's going on. Oh, we just hit 2 hours.
Before we began our investigation, I let a digital voice recorder run for about 2 hours. I was surprised by how much activity we captured. Now, before we can discuss what was paranormal, we have to discuss what is normal. As you saw, there was a broken out window. It was not a secure location. So this is the sound of a neighbor outside having a conversation. And this is the sound of us. We were still in the house. We were on the first floor playing a board game. Because we're nerds. Go tabletop gaming. Okay, now that all aside, I cannot explain the following sounds. As you saw, the room was pretty much empty, no objects that could fall or be moved. However, we recorded a number of strange sounds, including these knocks that happened just 9 minutes after the recorder started to roll. And then this groan sound. Followed throughout the night by this series of strange knocks and thuds. We also captured a handful of voices, but again, since the place was not completely secure, there's plenty of contamination. We can't rule out where these voices came from. They very easily could have been more neighbors or us. What I can say is that I really do believe we captured strange, unexplainable sounds. You can tell me what you think it was, but it was coming from a room that had no objects in it other than the recorder itself. Our EVP session that came later yielded 0 results, so no conscious responses. So unfortunately, I cannot say if the strange sounds that we did capture came from the recent activity or from something else over the 108 years since this house was built. Perhaps the new roommate who has since moved in will be able to get down to the bottom of things a little better. He doesn't know about this investigation. In other news, I have to make amends. See, this channel has been around for over a year. We've got well over 100 videos to our credit. However, none of them is a silly, cute cat video. So, this being the internet and this being YouTube, I'm sure I'm on the border of getting fined, so I will leave you with why you don't take a cat on a paranormal investigation. In addition to that, I always want to know in the comments below, what is your ghost story? Also, lastly, you can catch us a little bit further this year at the ScareLA convention. Information on that is in the description below.
If this is a cat in front of us, cross the rods. Whoop. We'll cross them for us.